What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about whether or not the zero build game mode will be removed in Season 3. Personally, I do not think it is, but we're going to get into that in the video, talk about why people think it might be removed and why I do not think it will. If you guys do enjoy the video or find it informative, helpful, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and comment down below if you would quit playing the game if the zero build game mode was removed. Also, if you guys would like to use me for support a creator, it is just Evolve Jake, just like my channel name is. If you put that in the item shop, that would be great, especially when buying the new battle pass for next season. So to start off with this video, a lot of people have asked me on stream or in video comments, like, is the zero build game mode going to be removed in Season 3? And I think the primary reason why people think that might be the case is because when zero build was added, it had a lot to do with the storyline for Chapter 3 Season 2. If you guys weren't playing at the very start of the season or you didn't see the trailers, essentially within the storyline, Salone like vaulted building or whatever to like give the IO an upper hand on the 7. And for the first 2 weeks of the season, there wasn't a zero build game mode and a build game mode. There just wasn't building in pubs. That was how it worked. And then over the course of the season, the 7 added building back or whatever. But the zero build mode was received incredibly well. It kind of had its own community, and there was so many new people coming to the game and players returning to the game who had previously quit to try out the zero build mode. So when building got added back in public matches, that's when Epic ended up making its separate game mode. And I think that's pretty important because it kind of completely dispels the belief that, oh, zero build was only here because of the storyline. Because if it was only here because of the storyline, I don't think they ever would have made it its own game mode. And that was maybe the plan from the get-go, was just that this is going to have to do with the story, and then we'll get back to the normal game afterwards. But I think they saw the positive feedback that it got and just the new pool of players that could come into the game because of zero build. So I highly doubt it would ever be removed. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just like once they made it its own game mode, I feel like it's here to stay. And LTMs used to be a thing in the past where we would get game modes for like a week or two that would end up leaving, but LTMs really have not been that prevalent in Fortnite for a long time from my understanding. I quit for most of Chapter 2, but it seems like LTMs haven't been a thing for a long time, so I also don't think they would have added it just to have it here temporarily. Zero build has its own community, and it is much more appealing to new people and people who would have never been interested in Fortnite. And I think that is a huge deal, because no matter how good your game is, no matter how popular your game is, if it doesn't acquire new players, eventually the game will die. That might be years down the line, but if new people are unable to get into the game and play the game, it is going to die off. And I feel like Fortnite kind of had that problem to an extent with building. Personally, I love building, and I very much enjoy the game with building. It is what makes Fortnite very unique and like very addicting to me personally, just how different each fight can be with building. But for a new player or someone who's just on the outside looking in, it can be pretty intimidating. It can be like pretty daunting, and it can just turn you off from the game completely, because I like that it has a really high skill gap. That's one of the things that I really like about the game. But someone who's new to the game and never played it, that skill gap makes them not want to play the game at all. And yeah, I think that's just a huge distinction. Zero build is a much more appealing game mode for like casual players or new players or people who quit playing the game. People who like traditional shooters are much more likely going to be interested in zero builds than they are normal. So I think getting rid of it would be a very bad decision, especially because like it's not like it's hurting anything having two game modes in the game. The people who like building can play building, and the people who like zero build can play zero build, and everybody's happy in theory. It doesn't really hurt one way or the other to have multiple game modes and to kind of have separate pools of players or separate communities of players. There could be some like items that only work in one mode, but I think that's fine as well. If they had separate loot pools for normals and zero builds, I don't really see what the problem would be with that at all. So I think it's good. It's really good for new player acquisition or like returning players getting back into the game. I played Fortnite a lot back in the day. I think I was like top 10 for solo wins and like maybe top 3 for solo kills, but I quit playing the game for most of Chapter 2. And even me having thousands of wins, I knew coming back to the game a year and a half later at the end of Chapter 2 that it was going to be difficult for me to like learn how to play the game again and get good at the game again. And like that was something that I accepted and was like down to do. But not everybody is going to want to practice and actually want to improve, and the zero build game mode is a great opportunity for them. Another reason why I do not think they would get rid of the zero build game mode is that zero build comp has been getting more attention. There hasn't been any huge like Epic sanctioned tournaments with prize pools for zero build competitive, but you've seen with like the skin cups, and I think there's like the zero build nights on Fridays, I think, as well. And then there's also been a lot of pop-up cups or like lightning cups for the zero build game mode, and I really don't think Epic would put time into like having zero build tournaments and testing that format and really refining that format if zero build wasn't here to stay. I think the game mode is here to stay, and in the future, zero build comp will be a thing. You could disagree on whether or not that should be a thing or whether or not that makes sense. But I think in the future, there will be building tournaments and zero build tournaments and maybe even like a zero build FNCS. It just makes sense to retain some of those players. Like the main purpose of competitive in these games is just to retain players and keep people playing for long periods of time, like months and years. And zero build would run into the same problem that the normal game would, and having a competitive scene for it makes a lot of sense in the long run. And like I said, I do not think they would be testing tournaments or putting up tournaments in the zero build game mode if the play down the line wasn't to have zero build comp be a thing. Like they've always had these random cups, even way back in the day before we had really large Fortnite tournaments like FNCS. We had random cups for the longest, or cash cups for the longest, where they were like testing formats and really refining formats. And I feel like that's what they've been doing with the zero build cups. Also think skin cups make a lot more sense in the zero build game mode because the skin cups are meant to be a more like casual introduction into competitive, and the zero build mode definitely fits for that, I think, a lot better than the normal build mode. So yeah, I really do not think that there is any chance that the zero build mode is being removed. It was initially added as a part of the storyline, that is true, but I think it goes far beyond that, and Epic is usually really quick to adapt when things are going a certain way or aren't going a certain way. Like maybe, like I said before, the plan was to only have zero build be here for 2 weeks, but it exploded in popularity. It attracted a whole different group of people, which is nice because Epic wasn't going to be able to get those players without the zero build mode, and helps you get old players back. So I just really don't see any way in which the zero build mode is being removed. Comment down below if you think it is going to be removed, or if you were worried that it's going to be removed and this video changed your mind. There's not really much to go into. Like the game mode was really well received. It has its own community, and it's more attractive to new players, and I feel like that is in the long run the bigger thing, because you're going to be able to sustain your game longer if you're able to acquire new players over time. That is something that Fortnite was really lacking in because of how large the skill gap it was in the game with building and editing, and just how much of an advantage somebody who was good at building had over somebody who was new to the game. That makes the game very fun for people who get good at the game, which is kind of, to be honest, how I think games should be. The people who are good should beat the people who are worse than them. But the skill gap building was so high that it just completely killed the game, I feel like, for some people, because if they don't pick it up and immediately see success or see results like kills and wins, they're not going to keep playing. So yeah, I think zero build is here to stay. I would be very surprised if it gets removed, and I do think a zero build competitive scene is going to be in the works maybe next season or a few seasons down the line. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next one. We are getting very close to the end of Chapter 3, Season 2, and I'm super excited for the new season. I'm going to have so many videos coming out when the new season launches, going over all the changes, new tips that arise because of it. Like there's going to be so much new content in the new season, and I am super excited. But I will see you guys in the next one.